So I want to lay a foundation before I just jump into what was stolen or what was plagiarized. Is that we got to understand when it comes to the study of history, specifically Africa and the Middle East, so-called Middle East, we have to understand how the white man divides the world up, mainly Africa, because it's important. He divides the world up in Africa between the sub-Saharan and the above-Saharan desert. Above-Saharan desert is where you get into Egypt, where you get into the so-called Middle East, and below the Saharan desert is where you get to the South Africa, West Africa, and East Africa. So one thing we come to when we say that, when we look at certain books, which are written by Jewish people, when Jewish people go throughout Israel, so they're trying to find evidence of the so-called that they existed, they're only doing it for a political reason. Because if you can find evidence that we were here, then you Arabs need to leave. Because this is our land. It's a political thing with white people. It's about power. And we have to understand that. Now I know that we may believe that the devil or a spiritual entity who's evil may be against us, and I believe that too. But we have to understand one thing I like about the Nation of Islam is when they said that the white man was a so-called devil. We gotta look deeper into it. Know that the white man is not the physical devil. But we got to understand what is the devil. And when you understand what the devil is, then you can look at him and point to him and say, well, yeah, you are the devil. So I want to lay up the foundation. People think PowerPoint, so I decided to do it a little bit differently. One of the things I've noticed watching YouTube, you guys, YouTube channel, and different sources is we like to go to different Roman and Greek historians to basically prove the fact that there was a historical Christ. But we have to understand when we read certain things, we have to look at what language is everything. Because when I noticed when you guys were praying, you was reading Psalm 79, where it said, oh God, you said, oh Yah. But you can't really do that because language is specific. God is a different, and Lord is a different. We have to understand that. So we just can't say, well, oh God, so I want to put oh Yah. We can't do that. It says God, and we're going to the Hebrew, and a specific word, then use that word. If you call yourselves Hebrew Israelites, then use Hebrew. Don't use the white man's language. Well, I don't want to call it white man's language, but so the first one I want to start off with is Josephus. Which we like to quote Josephus as saying that if he did say in his work, the Flavius Josephus, the testimonial, Flavionium, he said there was a historical Christ that walked around and that he was the Christ. First of all, we have to understand that Josephus was born a Jew. Historically, many scholars place him, he was born around 4 years after the death of Jesus, and then he witnessed the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, which really did happen. So we have to understand too that if Josephus was a Jew, and he was a Roman Jew, then how was he white? If according to most Hebrew Israelites, the Jews were still Jews at this time. So if we do not want to take the word of white Jews today, and we believe they are not the offspring of Israel, which I just believe that they were converts of their religion, then why would we believe in the works of another white Jew? You have to understand that. So now I want to go into one thing that we have to understand, read the preference of the book, that Josephus made it known that, and I'll read what he wrote. He says that, now I undertake the present work as thinking it will appear to Greeks worthy of their study. It will contain all our antiquities and constitutions of our government as interpreted by the Hebrew scriptures. So what he's basically saying is that these are interpreted by the Hebrew scriptures. They weren't really history. He was taking what was already written and basically interpreted so that it would be worthy for the study of the Greeks, what they call Greek philosophers and all that. So also too, we have to go. So we're going to go to where he says about Jesus. He says, now there was a time Jesus, a wise man, if we lawfully call him a man, he was a doer of wonderful works, a teacher of such as we have received the truth of pleasure. He drew over to him both of the Jews and many Gentiles, or some translations say the Greeks. He was the Christ, and when Pilate, at the suggestion of the principal men amongst us, had condemned him to the cross, those that loved him at the first did not forsake him, for he assured to them alive again the third day. As the divine prophets have foretold, these and 10,000 are wonderful things concerning him, and the tribe of Christians so named for him are not distinct to this day. Now, tribe, some translations say sect, that's important. So this sounds convincing. When I read this, when I was introduced to to the knowledge of Hebrew Israelites and Hebrewism. When I read this, I was convinced that, well, hey, I guess Jesus really did exist. We had an outside source saying that it was a Christ walking around. But we have to understand one thing too, because early church fathers were credited for finding these so-called works and interpreting them, interpolated a lot of things that they thought that, okay, if we can put this in here, maybe we can have people believe us. First of all, Josephus was a Pharisee. And in it, we see that he says that Jesus was the Christ. He was also a Roman. He would have never called Jesus Christ. He also enjoyed pleasures. Historically, he enjoyed pleasures from the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire believed that Caesar was the Christ. So for him to call Jesus the Christ makes no sense. And I'm going to get into why it does not make any sense. He says that he also spoke that instead of talking more men, the divine prophet spoke instead of Joseph. So basically, when he says that passage, immediately after this, most people don't like to read immediately after what he said. Immediately after that, Peter knows nearly 700 words to some beautiful woman that he said was in a Roman temple. He was calling in the temple of Isis in Rome, because Isis, as you know, was an Egyptian goddess. She was worshipped all over the world and all throughout Africa. It was the same goddess, but she was in different names. So Isis in Greek mythology was a thing and so on. Also, so many historians believe that this was interpolated by Catholic historian named, and I really can't pronounce his name, but Eusebius of the 4th century. He was an early church father. And they say that indeed before he claimed to have found this passage, no other church father quoted this. They didn't quote it because they didn't see it. He is, and we'll see throughout my study, people see that this man right here acknowledged that a lot of what Christianity or what the Jews believed in came from Egypt. He acknowledged it. And we also see that he is accused by many historians and archaeologists of interpolating passages in different works to basically say that Jesus was a real man, because he was a church father. So of course, when it comes to specifically the Roman Catholic Church, they want to say that Jesus was real simply for the power that they have on other people, not because they really care about the souls of individuals. The white man don't care about no soul. He wants power. We have to understand that. So when you have something that's sold to the masses, you need to question, well, if he's for my destruction and he brought me over here and he enslaved me or whatever like that, then why is he giving me this? Is it really going to be for my benefit? We have to, like I said, we have to understand the mind of the enemy. And when you understand the mind of the enemy, research what the enemy is saying. Just don't think, okay, that's the devil. But you got the Bible. Understand why he decided to choose the Bible as his testimony. Why he decided to use the Bible as his word. And I know when it comes to the belief in a Messiah, people get so worked up. Because the Messiah is your salvation after death. We fear where we're going to die when we know where we're going to go when we die. So going back to the testimony of Josephus about a man 2,000 years ago, we'll say Dr. Gordon Stein relates, and he's a biblical historian. He says the vast majority of scholars, quote, the vast majority of scholars since the early 1800s have said this quotation is not Bible thesis, but rather the later Christian surgery in these works. In other words, it was important. Dr. Blackman, they related here, like also Christian mythology on the Bible, shows that Matthias was the father of Josephus and must have been witness to the miracles which are said to have been performed by Jesus in Josephus. And Josephus was born on the 2 years of crucifixion. Yet in all the works, he says nothing whatever about the life and death of Jesus Christ as the interpolated passage is known, universally acknowledged in the origin. The arguments of the Christian Ajax, even Byron himself, suggests and says it was never quoted by any of our Christian ancestors before this church father. So, like I said, before this church father, it serves narrative. The language is white Christian. It's not the work of a Jew who's also a Pharisee living in Rome. So I want to go down to my time right now. The only Catholic Encyclopedia says that the passage seems to suffer from repeated interpolations. In the same century, commentary also present the Josephus writings were used extensively by early church fathers such as Jerome, Ambrose, and Christian Mole. Nevertheless, as noted except for Jerome, that they never mentioned that they never used this passage specifically from the testimony of Josephus. It's also said that if you know a little bit about history, most historians say that the founding of the Euro-Gentile Christian religion was from the Flavian family. Titus Flavian was an emperor in Rome, and he basically said that he's the Messiah. So what he did was he tried to group a bunch of his family and his scholars to calm down the Jewish people in Rome, basically trying to overthrow him. So if you understand that the Flavian family are historically accounted to a lot of the writings of the New Testament, things like that, as a political propaganda, Josephus is part of the Flavian family. So it's interesting to know that many historians, including that of Joseph Africa, has found evidence that the New Testament was in fact written as a piece of propaganda for the Roman Empire by the Flavian family, who included Titus Flavius, and none other than Josephus. If we read the verse of Josephus and not just the interpolated passage, Jesus, we will see that the doings of these Titus, which occurs in Scripture, the emergence of a new religious group called Christians, as well as many believe that the book of Revelation has been written around the same time that see that Titus Flavius was emperor. So I don't want to go before my time is over, but the next one I want to talk about is Tacitus. He's another Roman general, where he basically has the annals of Roman history. And in it, you do see that he mentions a certain person that people automatically assume was Jesus Christ. And he says that Christos, who reigned in the region of Tiberias, was put to death as a criminal by a procurator, Pontius Pilate. The passage also refers that Christians who encountered a vast multitude, that Christians were a vast multitude of Rome, and when they sought after and executing vast numbers of crucifixion. However, the date that a vast number of Christians was discovered and executed around 64 CE, and it is evident there was no vast multitude of Christians in Rome at this time. Even conservative writers James still has problem with the authenticity of the Tacitus passage. For one, Tacitus was an imperial writer. He called Pilate in the work. He called Pilate a procurator. When Pilate was not a procurator, he was a prefect. So if Tacitus is in charge of writing the imperial records of Rome, why would he get mistaken what Pilate was if he lived around this time?